So without further ado, good morning. I hope you enjoyed our trip down procrastination lane. I know I did. I will now be watching that metal pig calling mashup whenever I need a good laugh, because that was piece de resistance. So let me get my screen going. You would think I would learn how to multitask since we've been doing these for about a year, but that's all right. Desktop one and share. All righty, can you guys see my screen? Awesome. All right, so welcome to Creative Mornings. If this is your first time in Charlottesville, welcome to Charlottesville. We're glad you are virtually here. I'm gonna put my Al Roker hat on for a second. It's an overcast day, a high of 62. I don't know if that's the actual high, but it's kind of gray. So I'm glad you're all here and you're brightening my day. So welcome. We love participation, so thanks for participating. There's a lot of emojis at the bottom of your screen. Also there, the closed caption, if you would like to use that. And other than that, there's always virtual applause. So lots of ways to participate in the chat box. So like I was saying, we're gonna take a group photo. So if you've got pets, if you've got mugs you love, your mug, get it ready. We're gonna take a couple of snaps. All right, I see most of the mugs ready. Emma's, you're on mute side, I love it. All righty, here we go. I need that sign, by the way. And a 1, and a 2, and a cheese. And we're gonna take one more. If I can find my little cursor, there it is. Oh, we got pizza glasses, let's go. And a 1, and a 2, cheese. Somebody put the little reaction emoji up. I love it. That was a great idea. That was a fantastic idea. Okay, Jimmy, I like that. All right, thank you for participating. Creative Mornings is in 223 cities in 67 countries with 27,000 attendees per month, more than 9,000 talks online, and 10.9 video views. So we are expansive, and it's cool to be part of such a large organization. This month's theme is Procrastinate, which we've all done a little bit of this morning. Creative Mornings is sponsored by MailChimp. And this month, MailChimp partnered with Oscilloscope Laboratories. Kudos to anybody who knows what an oscilloscope is. If you do, put your name in the chat. I'm applauding you. So they're partnered with Oscilloscope Laboratories to bring another year of Support the Shorts, the digital platform where you can watch a selection of more than 25 films from the South by Southwest 2021 official short film program for free online. And we've got the link for you in the chat. Also, Basecamp and Hey. So the Creative Mornings global water cooler called Hey Creative Mornings continues to dish out great blogs. Here are the titles of a few they've created, taken straight from emails sent in by the global Creative Mornings community. Your favorite books, your most anticipated newsletters, a compendium of good advice, and more. And Skillshare. So browsing Skillshare's online course catalog, you'll find lots of past Creative Mornings speakers teaching their skills. Whether it's creative writing with Roxanne Gay, lettering with Jessica Hish, or map making with Field Trip host Ann Dittmeyer, there's much to dig into. So those links are in the chat for you to browse. And of course, we could not do any of this without our local partners. So thank you all so much. That's Worth Higgins and Associates, Ting, The Fralin, Willow Tree, UVA Arts, The Bridge, and New City Arts. So thank you all for your support. And we've got a couple of announcements. The first from The Fralin.
I'll take The Fralin. I don't see any Fralin folks here. The Fralin Museum of Art at the University of Virginia, our local regional museum here, has been doing amazing programming from home. Next Friday, they're going to do a wine and art night with Stinson Vineyards, where you order a couple of bottles of wine to taste. And the curators at the Fralin will talk about work inspired around these sorts of themes, I guess. And then the Ellen Bayard Whedon lecture on the arts of Asia. These are open to all. If you just go to uva.fralinmuseum.virginia.edu, Fralin from Fralin-home, you can register for any of these events.
Awesome. Thanks, Emma. And Emma will also share next about UVA Arts.
Yeah, so this is an initiative that we've been really psyched about, where we have partnered with a local projection mapping artist, Jeff Dobro, and he has created projection mappings on 2 buildings so far. You see a picture here of the chapel, and last week was the rotunda, and we've got 3 more coming up. Safe, socially distant, wear your mask, but come see these beautiful buildings at UVA come to life with amazing music and art.
Excellent. The chapel, so cool. I'm sorry to have missed Monticello, but there's plenty more to go see. So if you're in the area, definitely go check those out. They are incredible. Next, it's time for 30-second pitches. We've got one today from Debbie White. So when you're ready, go ahead and share.
Good morning, Corey. Thank you and the amazing Creative Mornings team. I'm Debbie White at the Darden School of Business, offering free virtual sessions from a business boot camp for artists to help you increase the visibility and market for your work. Next Friday, April 16th at 4 p.m., we have an extraordinary session on copyright, unpacking the complex topic for visual artists so you know your rights and obligations, with Megan No of Prior Cashman and Katarina Fetter of Artist Rights Society. So we're lucky to get these amazing panelists, and I hope you'll promise me that if next Friday the weather is gorgeous again, you'll pop on some earbuds, sit under a dogwood tree, and listen to these panelists help you understand copyright at 4 p.m. on the 16th, and I'll put the link in the website to register as well as the code. And then on April 30th, we'll do low cost and free PR tips to help you get that artwork out of your studio with Carrie Thornborough, who is the former social media manager for the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. So please tell artists and collectors that you know, and I hope you will all join us for these free sessions online. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much, Debbie. We do this every Creative Mornings. So if there is something that you're working on, if you've got work for hire, a job for hire, an event, anything, we always have that link in our newsletters for you to sign up. It's quick to sign up, and it's a good way to share with the community. All right, any takers on reading our virtual manifesto? You can raise your hand in person or on your screen, or you could chat in the chat box to me. I might have missed somebody too. No takers on the manifesto? All right, Erica, thank you so much.
I have a toddler in the background, so apologies for background noise.
Perfect.
Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty, and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in jazz hands, virtual claps, and virtual snaps. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today. Heather Mease is a composer, electronic musician, and a multimedia artist whose work focuses on the appropriation of media in pre-existing forms, recorded materials, and found objects as a means for exploring material culture, waste, and the consequences of nostalgia. When not making esoteric graduate student art, Heather helps keep the Bridge Progressive Arts Initiative running by paying the electric bill, writing grants, organizing events, and eating dumpster snacks. Please join me in welcoming Heather.
Hello. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for having me. I guess I'll just jump right in. I have prepared a PowerPoint. Okay. Let me make sure I'm sharing sound, and then we'll jump into it. All right. So, okay. Oops. Here we go. Well, thanks again for having me. We're going to talk about procrastination. I'm Heather Mease, your expert procrastinator for today. Have a little bit of ambiance. Lovely. Okay, now that we've set the mood. So yeah, I'm Heather Mease. I am a composer in the tradition of composition. I make music, I make electronic music, I make audio visual stuff. I do lots of stuff. I am also, as was mentioned, I am staff at the Bridge, which is I guess co-host or co-supporter or whatever you'd like to call it of this series. I guess guiltily will admit that I have actually never been to a Creative Mornings. This is my first one, which is, I guess, kind of embarrassing. But you know, first times forever for everything. I think it was particularly worse in person when I had to be somewhere at 8:30 on a Friday morning. So now that it's virtual, it is much more palatable. So a lot of my work actually, I think, benefits from procrastination. And I guess I'll explain what my work is, and then perhaps that it will be, I guess, a little bit more obvious how that would fit in to that. So a lot of my work deals with kind of appropriation, word destruction, imitation, and recomposition of sound for the most part, but also images. And I'm very, for any of you who are maybe interested in music and know a little bit about it, sampling is kind of, I guess, the main place I work in. So I take things that exist, maybe it's music, maybe it's a whole song, maybe it's like kind of like an idea or something, and then I take it apart and I make new music out of it. And so a lot of that has to do, or a lot of that needs a lot of pre-composition in the form of basically, I guess, crate digging is a term, or just like kind of digging and looking for things. So crate digging is a term that a lot of beat makers use to talk about like literally getting in crates of vinyl and like looking through them and trying to find like the best piece or something new or something weird that they can then use to make a new beat out of it. And so crate digging can be like literally in the record store, but sometimes I spend hours on YouTube also looking for like the perfect thing, or I'll spend time, you know, rummaging through like, you know, just typical research of like rummaging through JSTOR or like UVA's kind of rough library catalog and things like that, looking for the thing or inspiration for the thing or whatever. But sometimes that's also part of putting off making the thing as well. So procrastination, we often think of as kind of a dirty word. You know, I think a lot of us even feel a little anxiety just thinking about procrastination, about, you know, the act of putting something off, right? But there's not, it's not just wasted time in there. It's not just, you know, garbage time or something like that. There is like stuff that we do when we're not doing the thing that we're supposed to be doing, even if it's taking a nap. That can be a productive a productive act maybe, and that can help us get to that goal faster by literally depleting the time, but also by helping us energize to get there. So rarely are we doing nothing, right? Even cooking a meal, even cleaning our house could lead us actually to the thing, or it might end up being the thing that gets us there. So let's talk about time well wasted. Let's get a little ambiance in here again. So thinking about this time as not just time that we're wasting, but time that we're wasting productively. Okay, so when I think of procrastination, I think about SpongeBob, particularly not because I just like to watch SpongeBob while I'm not doing other things, but also, and also just for the people who run this event, if for some reason we cannot reproduce SpongeBob, just like put like a picture of a sponge.
Those are goats. Oh no, the goats are eating all of the vegetables.
Yes. Okay. So continuing on, we have Mr. SpongeBob, and SpongeBob is going to bring us through the stress of not writing an essay, which I'm sure we've all experienced. And SpongeBob is I think the essay is about what not to do at a stoplight. So let's watch SpongeBob try to write this essay.
I think it's clean enough now. Why, that didn't take too long. It's only 10 o'clock. Oh, no more fooling around. I've got to get back to work. Okay, Mr. Essay, I say, prepare to be written. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yeah, yeah. And some of these, and some of these. Almost there, and done. Now let's see how it looks so far.
Okay, so SpongeBob has not written this essay, as you can see. He has instead made this beautiful drawing that will become part of the essay. I would say like the first thing not to do at a stoplight, perhaps. But no, we have not gotten to the thing. However, this is still a creative act, right? This is still great. Not only just as good TV for us, you know, good acting or whatever, but as something that could become something else. And if anybody's seen this episode, something I don't really touch on too much in this, in framing procrastination, but SpongeBob goes to the, he goes to his boating school and he sees his boating teacher, Mrs. Puff, and Mrs. Puff says, oh, he finishes the essay. That's the moral of the story. He brings it in. Mrs. Puff says, oh, I've canceled the essay. Instead, we're going to go on a field trip to a stoplight instead. And so sometimes sometimes actually, if you don't do the essay, sometimes actually you get ahead in life because you've done something else or not stressed about it. So anyway, sometimes doing the thing, or sometimes not doing the thing, is doing the thing. For instance, I spent a lot of time making this PowerPoint look this way, which was not putting effort into what I was going to say about the PowerPoint. However, the effort I put into making the PowerPoint, you know, I went on Unsplash and I got a bunch of free use, lovely pictures of beaches and the ocean, etc. And I put them in there with some lovely sounds and some text and all the other stuff, some word art, etc. And that has become now, all the time I spent doing that, really not trying to think about what I was going to say, that has become the content of what it is exactly I'm doing right now. So the design, that aspect, the spending a million hours writing the word "the" is actually now the essay. Also, while I was trying to make this PowerPoint, I started working on music because I don't know, maybe there was the stress of like the, I don't know, the potential of not getting this done or whatever else, whatever anxieties come along with deadlines. And so I was like, I need to not think about this for a minute. And so I switched to doing something else that was productive, even though the deadline for this piece is well far in the future in comparison to, I think this was like 10 p.m. last night. So this was not of concern. However, I thought as long as I was doing something productive, it was at least not as bad as, scrolling on social media as a way to not do what I was trying to do. So speaking of that, one of my biggest time sinks is definitely YouTube. However, it's not all bad. And, even this morning, we kind of watched some YouTube videos together. And I think we actually had a productive experience doing that. Productive as in we all learned something, I think, about each other and about YouTube, perhaps. So I'm going to kind of talk about my relationship with the YouTube and thinking about YouTube as kind of time well wasted on the internet. If any of you are interested kind of in the topic of creative wasting time on the internet, this guy literally wrote a book about it, Kenneth Goldsmith. He's kind of a, I don't know what nice word to say about him, but he kind of stinks, I guess, a little bit. But he's also like read some good stuff. I've read books by him and I've looked at his work, but definitely has done some, shall we say, problematic things. So if any of you are interested in drama, I would just look up some of the work of Kenneth Goldsmith and you can enjoy that. And he, I think this here's a picture of him laying on a bunch of stuff. I think maybe he like printed out all of JSTOR or like he uploaded all of JSTOR or something like that. Because there was like a paywall and then he like released all of it for free. So I mean he's like, I guess like he's okay sometimes. But anyway, so this book is based on a class that he's a poet and he had this class at UPenn. So he's a famous New York poet. He teaches at an Ivy League university. And the idea of this class, Wasting Time on the Internet, was you get your Ivy League students together and you productively waste time on the internet. And so some of these exercises would be, for instance, everybody, like you pass your computer to like the person next to you and they can like move one of your files or something like that, or they leave one file open. So it's kind of like this trust exercise where you let somebody kind of rummage through your like files. There's we've all probably done something where we've kind of hidden something because we were embarrassed that we had it, and so that's kind of like you hope that somebody doesn't find that thing, right? And one of the other exercises was you go up on the podium and you scroll on your social media of choice for a little bit. And you just do the thing that you always do, but you do it for an audience basically. And then they can kind of see into the nuances of your specific thing, right? This all looks the same for everybody. And even though it kind of looks different for me, it probably still looks the same for you. It's just the parts are swapped, right? Here's all of my meme pages that I frequent. Here's the ads that are being broadcasted to me. For some reason, I guess because I was looking up toys for my nieces the other day, but now I just keep getting like children's clothing advertising, and then sometimes I like them and I click on it because I think it's for me, and then I'm just like, this is too small. Yeah, and I mean there's a little bit you can tell about me from this, but at the same time I think that and my critique of the Kenneth Goldsmith thing is that like the internet looks good for you if you're a famous New York poet who teaches at an Ivy League university, and you can spin that as like a very positive experience, but for some of us it's kind of quite dreadful, I would say. But I don't feel that way about a lot of YouTube. I will talk about how YouTube can be absolutely a nightmare, but I would like to share some of my my favorite things that I have come upon. I have so many, it was so hard to choose, right? Now, I think that a lot of the things I come upon, or that I gravitate towards with YouTube videos are actually both audio and visually kind of actually not just interesting, but I think are maybe closer to some of my sonic and musical interests and you know, creative interests that I actually think about. So for instance, I'm going to play you this lovely video of possums eating bananas. Sorry if you don't like possums or bananas, or if the sound weirds you out, but I love the sound of these possums eating bananas. I think it's like so rich and so funny also. And I think that that's something I gravitate towards in my own work and in other people's works. Well, let's watch this together. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. Here we go. Oh, what a beautiful chorus of critters. And some of these videos are, I think, kind of go through, they get processed, right? And they become, there's layers that get put upon them. I guess this is kind of what happens when things are memeified. And this video is kind of like that. It's we're not gonna watch it, but I think this says enough. It's this little hedgehog that walks across a piano, and then somebody, you know, one that is just in itself like kind of a really interesting thing conceptually. Maybe it's not that interesting. I think it's kind of fun. I'm not interested in exploiting animals for my composition factory or something like that, but I think it's kind of funny. And you know, then somebody has transcribed this, and then the video is now both of them together. So I am like appreciating kind of these layers of kind of product or I don't know, creativity, responding to YouTube videos on top of it. So I'm responding to somebody responding to it by watching it, and I think that's pretty cool. And another thing I like to do, and in my YouTube holes or descents, shall we say, is that, you know, there are certain genres of videos that I like, as probably, you know, if you like gardening videos, or if you like watching, I don't know, like how to cook Vietnamese food or something like that. Maybe you have like certain pockets or certain genres of videos that you gravitate towards. And one of those things that I like is I like kind of like not tragedies necessarily. I'm not like a tragedy porn kind of person, but there are definitely like some kind of disastrous things that I like to watch. Like, for instance, I like watching boats sink, not like if they have people in them, just like if they're like, you know, about if they're gonna like kind of put it back into the ocean to make like an artificial reef or something. I love just like, oh, I don't know, there's just something about like a big boat just getting sucked into the ocean that I'm just like, oh, like it's really good for me. Same thing with like, I have a friend who really likes to watch like demolition videos. There's just something very satisfying about that. But one of the tragedies that I used to be, or at least a couple years ago, I was obsessed with was Hudson Yards in New York. I think this place sucks. And if you've ever been there, it's so like, oh, just like the neoliberal capitalist hellscape of being in the mall there, and also this ableist nightmare of a public installation. Oh man, I hate this so much. So I was just like watching videos of like I guess vloggers going up there, and you know, they're very pretty and stuff like that. And then I stumbled upon this video where this guy, it's so funny. I'd highly recommend you watch it. It's this I mean, if you also hate Hudson Yards, is this comedian, and he's just like performing being in this like Hudson Yard style video game, and it's just like this is for me. This is the YouTube that I have been born to discover, for sure. And I think that part of that is like, part of that act of discovering, that crate digging, is like, that's key to not falling into just like truly wasting time on YouTube. And there's this thing called uhole.tv. It's not safe for work. The reason it's not safe for work is because it gives you a random YouTube video. So it's like there's probably some kind of algorithm, I guess, but it is not the algorithm that YouTube is set up to do. So you can just like throw on uhole.tv, click a few times, and you'll find just like truly like the corners of YouTube that YouTube is not curated to give you. So I think that's a really interesting way to find new things. The only problem is I think it's very difficult to then like get to the original videos if you do find something that's interesting, especially if it's, you know, there's a lot of YouTube that's done in English. And so trying to find some of these is kind of difficult, but it's a very interesting exercise. And so you know, so for instance, you can create this yourself though. You watch, or I have, let's take me for instance, I you know, was watching maybe like 80s hip hop, or no, like, yeah, I was watching breakdancing videos, like maybe like a couple summers ago, and I was watching breakdancing videos, and then I was watching like competitions, and then I was watching this one competition, I think it was in DC, and then it panned out, and Ronald Reagan is sitting in the audience, which I thought was like super weird. And then, you know, then I find this video of Nancy Reagan looking very flustered while watching them and learning how to break dance. And if you watch this video, it's like 45 seconds. There is like right after this, it pans into her face, and she's just like, it's like really, really pretty disastrous, shall we say, but also very funny. And then just like asking YouTube questions, actively asking them. Don't let YouTube give you questions to ask. Ask them, how are hot dogs made? Ask YouTube, just like you would do any other kind of research. Watch a few videos, find out the answer, you know, do some digging, and you know, you will be rewarded, or maybe not, as in then you learn about how hot dogs are made. Kind of the opposite of this. This was a video that was on my front page of YouTube. I cooked a chicken by slapping it, and this is absolutely a video that I would watch. I mean, you would watch this video too, I'm sure. Like, I want to know what the hell like I cooked a chicken by slapping it means. And he literally, like, I guess I did not actually watch this because I had enough self-control. But yeah, apparently if you slap something really hard, it then gets warm. So that's all you really need to know. You don't need to know, you don't need to watch this video. But this is something that I would watch and I would feel bad about. I would feel like I probably wasted my time. And so trying to avoid these things, the things that YouTube is like actively feeding you, right? Or the algorithm, or even Spotify. Spotify does this too, where they like actively give you like, not trash, but stuff that is like probably not as rewarding as like finding it in other ways. You know, avoiding these, I think, is pretty key. But I've spent a lot of time on the internet, as many of us have, on many different platforms. And so thinking about kind of using this as inspiration, this is a piece that like a short piece that I made a couple years ago about like experiencing time on the internet. And so I kind of just recorded all these different track bars of all of these different media, different platforms that I was watching. And then I had all these track bars kind of like play at the same time. So you can kind of experience time passing by in that way on the internet. And I thought, I don't know, I thought it was intriguing enough for me to, as an experience, as someone who experiences time in this way, to then like kind of have them all together and look at the linearity of us all, like kind of navigating it. So I guess in conclusion, about my key, at least, to productive time wasting is just being in control of it and not letting the platform, whatever the platform is, take control of you. You know, I've lost a lot of my life to Instagram that I can't get back, and I do regret that, actually. But there's also so much time I've wasted on the internet that I think has made me not a better person. I would not say that, but has made me I don't know, more inspired, more knowledgeable about boats sinking or something like that. And so, you know, there's something to that for sure. And that's all I gotta say about procrastination. So if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Heather. I certainly learned a lot, and now I'm like trying to think about how I can productively use the internet to influence my creative practice, because I don't think I've ever thought about it. I've just been like, that's a time sink. So I'm curious. So you shared the piece that was inspired by your YouTube procrastination, but have you found other areas in your life or even in your practice where you can like draw a direct line to like, oh, that random video that I watched that one time influenced like this bit of music, or it influenced, you know, this visual effect that I wanted to do, or can you like draw a line to something that you've seen that's influenced your work?
Oh, totally. I mean, even just like I've pulled like sounds even from even like advertisements that I've been given, and I've like tried to make music out of them. I definitely well, also my some of my dissertation is like kind of about how people or how a lot of contemporary in music and also in video, people are kind of trying to emulate older styles, but in like kind of this still very polished production way, and things like that. And so a lot of research of mine requires watching like music videos and watching like contemporary videos too. So I mean, there's like a direct research there, but then also, yeah, just like thinking about YouTube as like a record store to like create dig is definitely something I do pretty frequently.
That's really cool. I'm happy to continue asking questions, but does anybody else have questions for Heather? Oh, there's a comment. Internet procrastination is like taking a walk. You notice something new every time, no matter how often you walk the same route, but walking is a respectable, ooh, in air quotes, I love this, form of inspiration. So you kind of commented on how there's like, you know yourself well enough to know like, I do not need to see this chicken slapping video. So, you know, as when you encounter that kind of like content, like, is that like a stopping point for you? And you're like, all right, I'm ready to return, or you're like, okay, next one.
Good question. You know, I this is actually something I do talk about with a therapist sometimes, where it's like particularly like I would mention, like the Instagram thing was just like, was really hard for me to get away from. Like I really felt like sucked into it and compelled. And definitely while I am what is it, like the, you know, I'm sure we've all had the experience of like, you know, watching something or reading something, or even just like, you know, sometimes a couple months ago, I started reading this like drama about like one of the Jenners ex-husbands that, like, I don't know, it was just like something like an ad that popped up, and I have no interest in that, and I think I read about it for at least 30 minutes, and I read other articles, and there was a moment where I was just like, where am I, like what happened, you know? So yeah, I think that I think the best thing, and the thing that I try to do, is when I find myself like getting to the territory where I'm just like, this is not good for me, is just like shutting it off. Not, I think sometimes you can kind of like be like, oh, I got into the deep end, let me go back. I think there is a little bit of that can be done, but when you get to the point, at least for me, when you're reading about the Kardashians, that's when you got, I have to I gotta go outside or something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Good to know. Yeah, it's like, how can you make your, not that you need to, but if you want to, making your procrastination productive for you. And I think knowing those limits and knowing like your limits is really important. I guess that's like with everything, right? Balance. Balance is key. So I've got another question. You mentioned that you have a friend who likes demolition. Do you ask your friends for their favorite videos, share with each other, kind of like how we did today, or like, yeah, do you find yourself doing that?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Particularly my best friend, I talk to him on the phone like every day at 2:30, because that's when he walks to work. So every single day, he lives in Philly, and we were in grade school together. We went to college together. So, you know, we're always just chatting. And so I think, you know, when you have like, when you have that kind of relationship with somebody who would, maybe they would send you a recipe or like a news article or something. Yeah. Also like sending your good content. And I'm sure like many of us probably have a person that we like send our favorite memes to. Perhaps your mother also does that to you unsolicited. So yeah, I totally, like if my friend is like, oh, I just watched this X stadium get demolished, like I'll be like, all right, send me the link. I gotta see it, you know. Even though it's not my favorite, it's not my favorite genre. I'm totally down to watch something implode anytime.
Cool. When you find yourself stuck creatively, or I guess maybe I should back up. Do you ever find yourself stuck creatively where you're looking for sources of information or new inspiration or something?
Yeah, I think that it's sometimes so okay, so sometimes it definitely is like, all right, I'm gonna get my hands dirty and I'm gonna find the new thing.
Yeah.
But also sometimes it's just hard to do stuff, you know. I think especially now when we're already so like, I don't know, drained. I mean, I'm so drained all the time. I barely do anything. And so sometimes you just need an escape, and that escape can be not harmful, and that escape can be sometimes harmful. So I think that, like, you know, within procrastination, there's also like escapism. So I think that that's kind of a little bit more how I see like the spectrum. It's like creative interest, escapist interest, and then there's also a horseshoe that happens with that as well, and they kind of come back, and the escapism will sometimes be creative, and sometimes the creative will also be escapist. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
No, but I like the direction it went. Because I think throughout this morning we've seen different ways to look at procrastination. And I know, at least for me, I've always, you kind of get your mind trained by society that procrastination is bad. So I'm so happy that this is our theme for this month, and that you've shared the ways that, okay, sure, it can be bad. However, there's this whole other spectrum, or there's this entire spectrum, I should say, of where it can land. It's not just bad or good. It's escape or boost your creativity, and they meet and they merge. And I love that.
Yeah, and procrastination can, like Alan, for instance, and I spend a lot of time together, and sometimes when we're spending time together, we're on the clock and we're working, and sometimes we're I don't know, listening to Blink-182 together and strengthening our bond, so it can well, we should be working at this time also, but I think there's some importance in us like also doing something else together. Yeah. And that will hopefully circle back, and when we're, I don't know, spackling the wall or writing grants together, that will hopefully make that more productive.
Very cool. Okay, Jeremy's got a question for you. There's also a weird tendency to feel like you have to mine inspiration, content, etc. out of all the content you consume. Examples: Goodreads gamifies your reading. Startups try to push the idea of speed reading. Sometimes it's helpful to just hang out on some weird, unfamiliar content and let it marinate. So yeah, I think that's such a great, oh no, not a question, just a prolonged music, sorry. But I think that was important for me to read too, as a part of this, because I think this is a really good way to kind of sum up what you've been talking about, because it doesn't really, we don't really need to have everything be productive and be inspirational. It's okay to just let it be what it is. So thank you for your musings. No need to apologize. Go with the slow. Okay, Emma, that's right. Any other questions for Heather?
I had just a comment about procrastination, and this comes from years of working as a production manager in that space between the creatives and the people who produce the printers and people actually produce the thing, the works. And one thing that I've kind of learned is the sooner a creative delivers work to a client, the more changes they will make. And it looks like that the artist is procrastinating, and I think it's just a very useful business tool.
Yeah, I think you're totally right about that. There's definitely a lot of if you get something in early, then they're gonna ask for more changes, and sometimes it can be advantageous to wait until the deadline to submit something for sure. Yeah, great observation. And then Jeremy has a question. Was I able to use this talk as a way to procrastinate other work? Maybe. I mean, there's always work to be done. I feel like I did other work as a way to not do this, but I'm sure that I was also doing this as a way to not do other work for sure.
Definitely a good question. Well, if there are no others, I think that's a great place for us to end today. So Heather, I thank you so much for putting your time and procrastination into your presentation. And thank you for, giving us a new perspective on it and opening us up to the idea of procrastination's a spectrum. Like, it's fine. It's okay to just let it be. It's okay if it's influencing your work. So thank you for that this morning. And I can't wait to hear more of your music. So
yeah, thanks so much for inviting me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And thank you to everybody who came this morning. Thank you to those who traveled virtually from across the country and across borders. We appreciate having you here, and I hope you all have a great weekend.